Today we're going to read a book called Kids Make a Difference, Kids Manage Money. Why money? Well, we all need money to pay for the things that we need and want. We need money to pay for goods such as food and clothes. We need money to pay for services like getting a haircut or going to the doctor. Think of all the different things that you and your family spend money on. Rent or house payments, telephone, electricity, food, car payments and gas, bus, train and plane fares, cable TV, video rentals, movies, games, and other entertainment. What did people do before there was money? The story of money. Long ago, people did not need money. People hunted for food. They gathered wild berries and other plants. They made clothes from animal skins, and they found their own shelter. As time passed, people settled into villages. They planted crops and made what they needed. Sometimes families produced more than they needed, and they started to barter or trade with other families. One family might grow extra rice and exchange the rice for a cow that they needed. Later, people began using money as a means of exchange. However, it was not the kind of money that you use today. What did European explorers and Native Americans use as money? Goods as money. Early people used different items as a form of money to pay for a product or a service. For example, they might have used shelves or whale's teeth, strings of beads called wampum, jewels, rice and salt, cattle and oxen, large stones, furs and dried fish, gold nuggets. Why do these items tell you about the people who used them as money and how they lived? Coins and paper. During the 600s BC, people in the ancient kingdom of Lydia began using coins. The coins had a lion's head stamped on them to show that the king of Lydia had given them a guaranteed value. Traders soon found that coins were easier to handle than goods and lasted a long time. Later, other countries began to make their own coins. The Chinese were the first to use paper money, probably as early as AD 600s. The Italian explorer Marco Polo saw the Chinese using paper money when he visited China in the 1200s. However, it took some time for European countries to see the value of using paper money. They didn't start using paper until the 1600s. Money through the ages. In 2500 BC, the people of Babylon used clay tablets for money. These tablets were used like the checks that we write today. Before refrigeration, salt was highly prized for cooking and preserving meat. Bars of salt became a form of money. Many people who lived by the ocean traded salt for goods. Native Americans used beads made of clam shells as money. The beads, called wampum, were strung together in patterns representing different villages. European explorers and settlers also used wampum to trade with Native Americans and each other. Today, only governments issue money. In our country, the United States Mint makes all the coins. These coins are made up of a mixture of copper, nickel, and silver. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing designs and prints the paper money that we use. What other kinds of money do people use today? Money today. Today we have many ways to pay for things. We don't use only coins or paper money. Often people prefer to pay for things with checks or credit cards. Paying with a check or credit card is easier and safer than carrying around a lot of real money. Paying with a check. A check is a substitute for cash. Checks are used in two main ways: to pay for things or as payment for work. People write checks to pay bills, and people receive paychecks when they work. How a check works. Suppose you have $100 in a bank checking account. You owe someone $20. You write that person a check for $20. That person will take your check to a bank to get the cash. Your bank will pay the $20 to the other person's bank, and now you have $80 left in your checking account. Notice that there's a check here. On the top left, you'll notice that you write your name and your address. Actually, that's already stamped on the check for you. The person or the store that you're paying goes on the pay to the order of line. The top right-hand side has today's date and the check number in the top very right corner. Then you write the amount that you're paying in the box on the right-hand side. You put it in numbers like $241.12. but then you also write it in words on the line below who you're paying it to. So notice it says 241 and 12 over $100. And that's the way you write it. You write it in word notation. You draw a line all the way across all the empty space so that no one else can write anything in on those lines. And you write 12 over 100, which is the fraction representing 12 cents. And then at the bottom, you sign it on the bottom right. It's in cursive. And then on the bottom left, you can write in the memo field if you choose to. It just reminds you what you purchased. Paying with a credit card. The Flatbush National Bank in Brooklyn, New York, issued the first credit cards. Only bank customers could use the credit card at 2 or 3 different stores near the bank. Today, people use credit cards to buy almost anything, and they use them almost anywhere in the world. Paying with a credit card is really borrowing money from a credit card company. Before a company, bank, or store lets you charge items on its credit card, it will check up on you. The company wants to be sure you pay your bills. Then it will issue you a credit card. You have to be 18 before you can get a credit card in your own name. Here's how a credit card works. Imagine that you are shopping for school supplies with your mom. When you're ready to pay for your supplies, your mom gives the salesperson a credit card. The credit card company pays the store where you charged your school supplies. Your mom now owes the credit card company for the school supplies that you charged. She can pay all of what she owes at the end of the month, or she can pay the minimum, which is only a small part of the bill. If she does not pay the full amount that she owes, she must pay interest. Interest is an extra charge you must pay for borrowing money. A word about money. The word credit comes from the Latin word creditus, which means to trust. So when someone gives you credit, it means that they trust you. Earning money. Throughout history, children have worked. Some children earned money to help their families. Some children earned money to buy things that they needed or wanted. Today, children earn or get money in many different ways. Receiving a gift, getting an allowance, doing chores at home, performing a service such as babysitting, making and selling goods. What are some ways that kids earned money in the past? Kids at work. Long ago, children often had jobs. There were no laws to protect them. Children worked long hours at hard jobs. They worked in unsafe and unhealthy places. They earned very little money for their hard work. Some children sold newspapers on city street corners. These kids were called newsies. Many of them were orphans. Their jobs helped to pay for their room and food. Other children worked in mines, at home, or in factories. Many worked in the textile industry, making clothes by hand. They were paid not by the hour, but for each item that they finished. Today there are laws regulating child labor. You have to be 16 or over to work. Children ages 14 and 15 are allowed to work, but in a limited number of jobs. They can only work outside of school hours. Getting an allowance. An allowance is an amount of money given to children regularly by an older person. Some people believe that children should get an allowance and others do not. Some children do chores at home to earn their allowance. They might clean their room or take out the trash. Other children are paid an allowance whether or not they do any jobs at home. Getting an allowance is a good way for you to learn to budget or plan what to do with your money. Allowances help you plan ahead. Since you get the same amount of money each time, you can plan how best to use it. You can decide whether to save or to spend your money. What are some other ways that kids can earn money? Starting a business. One way to earn money is to start your own business. You can have fun, earn extra cash, and learn lessons in responsibility. You can earn money doing odd jobs and by helping others. Starting a service-oriented business. You can run a business that offers a service. A service is a job or task that you do for people. Your customers pay you for the service that you do for them. Here are some service jobs that you might consider: mowing lawns, shoveling snow, washing cars, babysitting, delivering newspapers, running errands for the elderly, reading aloud to people, tutoring younger children, walking dogs, and feeding cats. Tips for working. Arrive on time, agree on a price before you begin work, Ask if there are any directions you need to follow or anything you should be aware of. Be specific about what you have to do. Be polite, and check that your customer is satisfied with your work. Once you decide on a service that you'd like to do to earn money, you will need to advertise your service. Make a poster or flyer. Put it on a community bulletin board in the library, post office, or local market. Take out an ad in your local newspaper. Talk to neighbors and friends. They might need your service. Ask your customers to recommend you to others. Word of mouth or good referrals is a great way to build your business. One satisfied customer can lead you to more customers. What if I like to make things? How do I go about selling things that I make? Car washing by dependable and reliable students. Regular brushless wash, which includes vacuuming, windows cleaned, 100% soft cloth wash, towel wipe down. Call Chris at 215-555-2750. After school and on weekends, $5. Tips for making an ad or poster. Describe the service you offer. Explain how and when to contact you. Tell why people should hire you. Starting a product-oriented business. You might prefer to start a business in which you make something to sell. Before you do, here are some things you will need to ask yourself. What kinds of things do I enjoy making? Do people really need or want any of these products? How much time during the week and on weekends would I have to make things? Is that enough time? What supplies will I need to begin? How much will these supplies cost? How much will people pay for what I can make? Can I make money selling my products? Here are some popular items kids have made and sold to earn money. Greeting cards, wrapping paper, and stationery, frames for photos or artwork, hair ornaments, baked goods, a community newsletter that sells ads, simple jewelry, nature crafts. A word about money. The law of supply and demand says that in business you should supply what people need. Supply is the amount of goods or services that people need. Demand is the amount of requests or orders for goods or services. Do you think selling snow shovels in Florida follows this law? Tips for creating great products. Try to make your product different or special. This is what will convince people to buy it. Make 2 or 3 prototypes or samples first. Make sure your idea really works. Use the best quality materials. You want your product to last. Do your best work. Take your time. Tips for pricing. See how other products like yours are priced. This will give you an idea of what you can charge. Decide how much you will charge for each item. Then add up all the costs of your materials plus the time you take to create your product. Then add on a profit. The profit is how much you make after you subtract all your costs, including the cost of your time. Sell the product at a competitive and fair price. Tips for selling. Where you sell your products is important. Here are places you might try to sell your products. Community craft fairs, school fairs, local festivals, church bazaars, local stores. Saving money. As long as people have been using money, they have also been saving it. Long ago, people used to hide their money. They hid money under a mattress, in a sock, or in a drawer. Do you have a safe place where you can keep your money? Maybe you keep your money in a piggy bank. Where you save your money often depends on what you are saving for. If you're saving to buy a CD or to go to a concert, then you probably keep your money somewhere in your room. If you're saving for a big purchase like a mountain bike or a school trip, where would you save your money? Where should I save my money? A word about money. People used to keep a pot made out of pig, an inexpensive clay, around the house. They began to put their extra change in it. It became known as a pig bank. Later, children's banks were made from other materials, but they were still called piggy banks. Saving money in a bank. One place to save money is the bank. Putting your money in a savings account will help your money earn more money. If you put your money in a piggy bank, 1 year later you'll still have the same amount of money you put in. But if you put your money in a savings account, 1 year later you'll have more money than you put in. Why? Well, when you keep your money at a bank, your money earns interest. Interest is the amount of money a bank pays you to use your money. The bank uses your money, and the money of other people too, to loan money to people and businesses. The bank will send you a statement several times a year. A bank statement tells you how much money is in your account. It also tells you how much interest that you have earned. If you leave your money in the bank, you can watch it grow. Are there other ways to save money? Tips for choosing a bank. Ask about a bank's interest rate. Different banks pay different rates. Ask about a bank's service charges. You don't want to pay for services that you won't use. Look for a bank in your neighborhood. You want a bank that is convenient to use. Check the bank's hours. Is it open before or after school hours or on Saturdays? Make sure that you have a savings account that lets you withdraw your money whenever you want. Check if the people working in the bank are helpful. You want to be able to get answers to your questions. Remember, it's your money. Buying a certificate of deposit, also known as a CD. Another way you can save money is to buy a certificate of deposit, or CD. If you have some money that you don't need to use for a long time, this is a good way to make your money grow. You can buy a CD at a bank. You agree not to use the money for a certain period of time. That period might be from 6 months to 5 years. You can't touch your money during that time. If you do, you must pay a penalty or fee. Since the bank is using your money for that time period, it will pay you interest. You will earn more interest with a CD than in a savings account. Can you guess why? It's because you promised to leave your money in the bank for a certain period of time. Banks pay different rates of interest, so you may want to compare rates in newspaper ads before buying a CD. Savings bonds. Another way to save money is to buy a savings bond. You can buy a savings bond from the United States government. Bonds are a good way to save money. Here's why. You can buy a $50 bond for $25. Then you must wait 17 years until the bond matures. That means it has reached its full value of $50. If you cash it before it matures, it'll be worth less than $50. People sometimes give children savings bonds as gifts. Investing in stocks. You can make money by buying stocks. Stocks are shares in a company. Lots of kids invest in stocks with a parent's help. If you buy stocks, you are buying a very small part of a company. If your company does well, then your stock usually goes up. You make money. If your company does poorly, then your stock usually goes down and you lose money. Some kids like to own stock, especially if the company makes something they like or use, such as computers, games, or clothes. You can find out how a stock is doing in the daily newspaper. The prices of most stocks are listed there. If you sell your stock for more than you paid for it, you've made money. If you sell your stock for less than you paid for it, you've lost money. Some schools have after-school programs that let students form a stock club. The kids select stocks and manage their portfolios, or groups of different stocks. They have a contest to see who picks the best stocks and makes the most money. Of course, the money they invested, spent, lost, or made is just on paper. However, it is still a great way to learn about stocks. Often local companies that manage stocks for people will come to a school and help the club set up their portfolios. Saving for a short-term goal. Let's say that you want to save for a new bike. The bike costs $250. You know that you can earn $50 a month. You think you'll be able to save $25 or $30 of the $50 each month. Where should you put your money? Well, a savings account might be a good place. If the money is in a bank, you won't be tempted to spend it. Putting your money in a savings account will let you earn a little interest on the money saved. Also, when you take the money out, you will not have to pay a penalty for withdrawing the money. Try not to take the money out before the date that the bank pays interest. A word about money. Long ago in Italy, the people who lent money sat on benches. That's where they did all their business. The Italian word for bench is banca. The word bank comes from banca. Saving money for a long-term goal. Well, what if you want to save for college? That's a long-term savings goal. If you are only 10 years old, then you have 8 years to save. How can you best save during those 8 years? You could buy a CD. A CD will pay you higher interest than your savings account. You'll probably have to keep renewing it, however. Most CDs are for a limited time period. You can also buy a savings bond. You would earn more interest than with a savings account. However, if you cash in your bond before it reaches its full value, you may not make as much money as you would if you left the money in a savings account. Making and using a budget. Are you ready to start managing your money? Then you need to make a plan called a budget. In your budget, you will record the money that you get, earn, spend, and save. A budget can help you make better use of your money, remember what things cost, think before you buy something, be smart about how you spend money, and a budget can help you save more money. I don't have that much money. Do I really need a budget? Why budget? You may be surprised by how much money you get in 1 year from gifts, allowances, and other sources. You may be even more surprised to find out how much money you spend in 1 year. A budget will help you think differently about money no matter how much you have. You'll learn to plan ahead. A budget will help you make your money work for you. How can I set up a budget that will work for me? Well, here's the way to get started. To set up a budget, you need to think about how much money you receive or earn, how much money you spend each week or month, how much money you want to save, and what you would buy or do with the money saved. Setting up a budget. Here's how a budget works. Cassie gets an allowance and does chores around the house. Sometimes she also earns money helping people in her neighborhood. Cassie hasn't been able to save any money and she wants to buy a guitar. She does not know where all her money goes, so she asks her parents for help setting up a budget. Here are the steps she followed. Step 1. List ways to get money. Cassie began by listing all her sources of income for 1 week. Her allowance, household chores like dusting, cleaning her room, washing dishes, mother's helper. Step 2. Keep track of money earned. She wrote down the money she earned in 1 week. Money earned. Allowance, $5. Dust furniture 2 times a week. 2 times $2 equals $4. $4. Be a mother's helper for Mrs. Grossman, $5. The total came to $14. Step 3. Keep track of money spent. Whenever Cassie spent money, she jotted down how much she spent. At the end of the week, she looked over her figures. Money spent. Movies, $5. Pizza soda, $2.90. Snack, 75 cents. Snack, $1.25. Magazine, $3.20. Total, $13.10. Then she subtracted the amount she spent from what she earned. That's the money she had left to save, 90 cents. Step 4. List ways to save more money. Cassie kept track of the money she earned and spent over the next few weeks. She realized that it would take forever for her to save enough money to buy a guitar, so she looked for ways to spend less and save more. Looking over her budget, she saw that she was spending too much money on snacks. She decided that one way she could save money was to bring snacks from home. Step 5. List possible ways to earn more money. Cassie also realized from her budget that she needed to find other ways to earn money. Cassie decided that she would see if another family in the neighborhood needed a mother's helper. Over the next few months, Cassie's budgeting helped her reach her goal. She saved enough to buy a guitar. Now she needs to save for guitar lessons. Kids take action. You can use the money management skills you learned not only to help yourself, but to help others as well. You can use your skills to make a difference in your community. Many kids donate their time and raise money for causes that matter to them. What can you and your friends do to raise money for your community? Kids give back. Here are some things that you and your friends can do to give back to your community. Organize a group that collects money for the United Nations Children's Fund, known as UNICEF, at Halloween. The money goes to help children around the world who have little food and are sometimes homeless. Raise money for Habitat for Humanity International. This group builds houses for families in need. Hold a fundraiser to help the American Red Cross. This organization helps families in countries torn by war or ruined by floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, or other natural disasters. How can you help your own community? Kids plan to raise money. Mrs. Hanover's class is studying how new homes are built. The students find out about an organization called Habitat for Humanity. Volunteers come from all over. They pound nails, paint, and do whatever the builders tell them to do. In no time, a family who could not afford to buy a home has a brand new home. Mrs. Hanover's class wants to raise money for this organization. The money will be used to buy house building supplies. How will Mrs. Hanover's class raise the money? Well, Mrs. Hanover's class has been studying businesses. They decide to split into groups to form a small company. The company will make 3 different products. The class takes a survey of the kinds of products kids might buy from them. They poll or ask other classes. The class discovers that kids are most interested in products for themselves, such as hair items, jewelry, or school supplies. Over the next few weeks, the kids brainstorm product ideas. They come up with 3 products. The products are hair clips, braided bracelets, and book covers. All will have the word Habitat on them. The kids will sell these items at lunch and after school. What kind of business could you and your friends start to raise money? Here's an example of a product business plan. Class product business plan. Number 1, choose one of the 3 products to develop. Number 2, work out a product budget. How much money is needed to buy supplies and what is a fair price to charge? Number 3, make sample products. Number 4, advertise products in the school and in the community. Number 5, sell products. Number 6, keep track of sales and costs. Number 7, donate profits to Habitat for Humanity. You take action. To raise money to donate to an organization of your choice, you need to develop a plan. This plan will help you reach your goal. Step 1, identify a goal. Discuss organizations in your town to which you would like to give money. Decide if you would rather give to a well-known national or to an international organization such as UNICEF. Know why you want to donate to the organization that you choose. Model. Mr. Jackson's class decided to form a business that would donate its profits to a charity. The class reviewed a number of different charities. They decided on the Red Cross. In social studies and science, they learned about natural disasters such as hurricanes and tornadoes. They learned that the Red Cross helps people after disasters strike. Step 2, decide on a business. Decide if your business will make a product or offer a service. If you choose to make a product, what will it be? If you decide to perform a service, what will it be? How will your product or service make money for your charity? Model. Mr. Jackson's class brainstormed ideas for making money. They wanted to start a business that helped others. Some wanted to have a car wash, others wanted to make and sell food. Still others wanted to provide a service that would help younger children. Mr. Jackson's class noticed that many parents needed help with their children after school. Funds for the after-school program had been cut. The class voted to start a Help Kids company. They would care for and tutor children after school. Step 3, draw up a business plan. Decide how the business will be organized and run. Assign tasks. Decide what prices to charge for the service. Decide how much time each person will spend on the business. Prepare an advertising campaign to promote the business. Model. The class held meetings to determine hourly rates for tutoring and babysitting. They decided that each student would give 2 hours a week to the business. They decided to advertise their services and tell people what their profits would be used for. They would send notes home to the parents. They would post ads on community bulletin boards. The class planned to be in business for 1 month. The business proved to be so successful that it was still going on after 2 months. Step 4, meet on a regular basis. Determine how often you should get together to report profits, solve problems, and make suggestions to improve the business. Model. After the first financial report was given, Mandy asked for ideas for handling difficulties with one small child. 2 or 3 other kids reported activity ideas that everyone could use when they babysat. The preschool director talked to them about what interested small children. By the end of the session, the group had come up with a list of activities to keep small children occupied. The class learned how to run a business, manage money, and give back to their community. After running the business for 3 months, Mr. Jackson's class gave the Red Cross $250.